Like I said, everything is just looking all kinds of brown. Back here we have our mulberry and sunflowers.
You didn't go far enough.
So like Olivia is saying, I didn't go low enough. If you keep going lower and scratch a little bit, you might find a bit of green. We got 4 angel trumpet on the property, but we've only seen 1 bloom so far to see what color it is, and it was a peach. We were told that the angel trumpet were all either peach or yellow, and they were all gonna be the same, but we will see if that holds true. The last time you guys saw us, I was wrapping up all these plants back here, getting everything prepped out, ready for the polar vortex that dropped us pretty low, about 24 degrees for at least 2 nights. We'll talk about that more coming up, but we're gonna give you guys a winter garden tour to show you guys how everything is making it through this winter. Welcome back to Molnar's Garden. Like I said, we got pretty cold with the polar vortex. We had a couple cold fronts blow through over the past couple weeks that just absolutely practically demolished our plants. They are not looking good today, so don't expect anything great. We got a lot of brown going on as the shade for the property, and it's unfortunate. It's not my favorite, but one of my favorites is the blue Java bananas. You guys hear me talk about these a lot, and this is what I want to start with today because I see a lot of people here in Florida telling me around our area who don't grow as much, saying that bananas do not grow here. The cold comes, it'll knock them down, and that's because I think a lot of people just don't give their bananas the time to regrow. As you can see right here, it's starting to bounce back already. Now the rest of the plant looks absolutely dreadful, and that's what I think people are cutting down because the plant looks awful. But down here, the pups are bouncing back. The main mother stalk is already growing back. So if you give them the time, they will come back. Just remember, you want to get that mulch really high around the plant for the bananas and everything like that to keep them nice and warm, especially the root ball. And then don't go crazy with the watering. As much as you might think the plant's looking bad, you want to give it some water after the cold comes through. That's not actually what you want to do. The plant's going to need some time to bounce back before it has all of the leaves and everything out there to really utilize all that water. If you go heavy on the watering, you're just going to drown the plant. So just leave it alone, give it a chance. Once you start seeing that green, then it's time to start bouncing back. Like I said, everything is just looking all kinds of brown. Back here we have our mulberry and sunflowers. The mulberries are deciduous. They'll drop their leaves and they'll bounce back in the spring. So we're just letting them do their kind of own thing. The real main concern, and the ones that we had to wrap, was all of this back down here. We have a bunch of guavas, finger lime, avocados, mango, sugar apple. We're not exactly sure how many of them are gonna bounce back all together, but we're gonna give them a chance to keep trying to grow through the spring and see what does, because you never know what's gonna come back. Even when stuff is all the way down to the ground looking like it's dead, sometimes you come in and you find a plant like our sugar apple here, and hopefully, but no, this one is dead. I scratched at the bark and I can see there's no green under there. The sugar apple completely gone. Hopefully, let's try another one.
That's green. You didn't go far enough.
So like Olivia is saying, I didn't go low enough. If you keep going lower and scratch a little bit, you might find a bit of green. So we may have to cut a sugar apple pretty low to the ground, but there is a chance that it might actually bounce back, surprisingly. Now that's a great example, because honestly the sugar apple is probably the most cold sensitive one that we have on the property, aside from maybe the mango that Olivia is checking out right now. And if those made it through, then there's a good chance everything else did. We might be having to prune quite a bit and do a lot of cuttings to let everything have the chance to regrow, but there's a good chance that these plants actually did make it through. I don't know how much the swimming pool that we put down here helped with the microclimate, and it seems like the pond might be a little small and further away than we want it to, and we need some of the overgrowth trees like the big oaks and stuff, and we do have some rainbow eucalyptus seeds in our office right now that are growing out. Hopefully we'll get them to be able to go into the ground this year, if not next year, depending on how fast they grow. But they're supposed to grow pretty fast. You think the mango's gone? Oh, that's unfortunate.
It might be under, but it's a grass, so I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's one of the problems is when you're checking these trees, if you're gonna cut them down, you're gonna wanna keep in mind, are they a graft or not? Because if they're a grafted tree, then you gotta know what the rootstock is, and the rootstock a lot of times isn't a plant that you're gonna wanna grow out. So we're gonna have to see what happens and just kind of wait until spring. It's a patience game that I don't really like to play, but here we are. Now the pond has been doing okay. It's not great. It's a little low at the moment, not looking the cleanest. We're in a bit of a dry spell. We need some more rain. That's really kind of what it's coming down to. Unfortunately, we had the fountain that was spraying stuff out, and wind came through and it just kind of blew the water out of the pond. So I need to reposition it. I've got it unplugged for now. Once we get some rain coming back in, I'll go ahead, reinstall it, move it over to its new location, more over here. And we still have some other tweaks to do to the pond. Obviously, it's not done yet, but we're getting through it.
Last winter, we lost the pineapple guava. This year, they didn't even lose their leaves.
Yeah. No, we didn't. That's a good call. Pineapple guava, fajola, right here. We lost these completely. They're small, they're not doing the greatest, but they were a sick plant when I got them. I am trying to rescue them. Got avocado still alive down at the ground, barely hanging in there. A lot of these plants are still kind of heavily buried with mulch. We're not done with all of our cold yet. It's not good to leave plants piled up with mulch for too long, but for a short little while, I'm finding that it really helps with keeping them alive. And I'm gonna show you the perfect example right over here. This plant right here is the ice cream bean that we won off of an Instagram giveaway. And as you can see right here, it's died back quite a bit from the top where it was cold. We have it under this oak right here that provides a good amount of protection for it, but it was still a little damaged in the cold. I did have this one wrapped up and buried with mulch, but you can see not nearly as much cold damage compared to some of the other plants, even being a more cold sensitive plant.
Mention the degree, isn't it like 30? Like it can only handle like up to 30 degrees, right?
Yeah, something
So
about 30.
It's like the mango and the sugar apple.
Yep.
And this one looks a lot better.
Yeah, and it's even got new growth coming off of it already. It's bouncing back pretty strongly already, thankfully. I'm very excited to try this one. I haven't tried a lot of these plants before, and so thankfully quite a bit of stuff has made it through. More of the bananas bouncing back already. Angel trumpet are already bouncing back pretty low to the ground, so these will be like the hibiscus, and I'll just cut them pretty low and they'll regrow.
They grow like weeds though, right?
Yeah, they grow like weeds as long as you feed them and water them really heavy, kind of like the bananas. Now we got 4 angel trumpet on the property, but we've only seen 1 bloom so far to see what color it is, and it was a peach. We were told that the angel trumpet were all either peach or yellow, and they were all gonna be the same, but we will see if that holds true. Now this is one that I wanna mention because I was very upset about this, but the papaya unfortunately turned pretty black. They just got demolished with the cold. They were looking pretty good for a bit, and then I think it was just a little bit too much for them at the end. So they went and died. I'm gonna have to come in, and as much as a lot of people might think this plant's done, it's gone, they're gonna rip it out of the ground and just give up on papaya. Honestly, personally, I find that if you just cut them down to the ground, they'll regrow and you'll get fruit off of it. You guys have seen me do that with another one that I had last winter that I cut back down to the ground. It grew back as a double stalk, and I did get fruit off of it. We didn't have anything ripen, but we did get some papaya, which you can use like a vegetable when they're green. We didn't get ripened for fruit, but we got vegetable worth papaya. So we're making progress. Probably the greatest benefit that has been helping us get through this winter better than last winter is the amount of mulch that we've been able to receive. You guys have heard us talk about that before. We still have more mulch up here that I gotta move and get through. And honestly, I just can't say enough about it. If you're having problems getting through winter, mulch is your best friend, hands down, even just in general. This is our hibiscus hedge up against the west wall of the garage. And as you can see, they are pretty demolished from the cold. This we've already seen happen through last winter. You go ahead and just cut them back to the ground and they will regrow. And like you can see already, they're already starting to bounce back. So they should come back very quick. They got to this height this year, which for me on the ground is about right here. So about neck high is what they grew in a year. And the soil was really bad last year. So it'll be better this year and hopefully they'll grow back faster. The birds of paradise and the queen palms are actually, as bad as they look, looking much better than they did last year. One of the things that's helping, again, mulch. We have more mulch around the plants. With the palm trees, one of the things we went ahead and did was we wrapped what are they? Beach towels. Yeah, beach towels. I went ahead and wrapped them around the trunks to try and keep the trunks a little bit more insulated from the cold. And it seems like all of the palm trees are doing very well compared to last year. They're still very small palms, but they aren't all brown on the leaves and fronds like they were last year. We still actually have quite a bit of green by keeping the trunks wrapped up. The main one, I think died completely. I'm pretty sure this one's gone. Right here on the front, this side of the house. I think this one cold and it got damaged last year. I replanted it kind of late into the season. It looks like it's actually still good down at the base of the trunk. I see a bit of green. You can see it right there. But I still might rip this one out and just replace it, because as you can see, the other ones are getting quite big and this one's going to struggle to regrow.
Are you recording me?
No.
I really find it strange that this olive tree looks so bad compared to the other one. Like that one didn't lose any leaves, but this one did.
Yeah, you guys can see how bad this
I really
one
think
looks.
it's because like that kid ran it over.
Yeah.
And so like that was in like September, so the roots didn't have time to really like how long did they have to like have before like?
Well, they might have been damaged entirely anyways. I don't know. I was surprised that I was able to prop this one back up and get it to come back as good as it did. It doesn't look like the plant's dead. There are some branches that are dead. I'm gonna have to cut them. I mean, I can see, like, it looks right about here is where I'm gonna have to make a cut. So the plant itself isn't dead. I mean, you can tell it's still got green leaves on it, but I am gonna have to heavily prune this one back, unfortunately. Which sucks, because this one is about 3 times bigger than the other olive tree, but yeah, at least it's alive. That pretty much does it for the plants, you guys. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot to really show at the moment with those, because apparently we didn't move far enough south. And so even though we're in Florida, we do still get a bit of a winter to give us those ugly shades of brown that I absolutely can't stand. I'm such a summer child. I need to be in a warmer spot. One day. But for now, at least the bananas, my favorite, are doing absolutely fine. Let's show you guys the animals. If you're a longtime watcher of the channel, then you can probably tell that this gate, this fence, it's all brand new. That's right, me and my dad spent a little bit of time building out this enclosure to get it ready so that the pig could finally have a space to hang out with all the birds and not be a loner in a little dog pen trying to dig up the grass for me. She's gotten a lot bigger now, so she needs more space anyways. Come here, babies. Come here. Here she comes. Those guineas have gotten bigger too.
And louder.
And louder. If you notice too, on the guineas, their left wing has been clipped. I went ahead and did that because we were having issues with them getting out. And so I went ahead and clipped one of the wings. The other thing you can do is pinion the wing, but I did not feel like doing that. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. I feel like it's mean, so I just clipped. I love the pig. Like I said, my dad and I spent a bit of time working on this enclosure. We had the foul netting around it, but we went ahead and added animal netting or fencing around the outside of it, along with some boards to staple everything into, make it a little bit more secure at the base for the pig. I do have these with U-posts going in that were already here, so I just decided to keep it that way. My personal opinion is I have one mini pig. She's only gonna get 30 to 50 pounds. If I only have one, even 2 or 3, I think this enclosure is going to work. Those guineas just do not shut up. I love it. Overall, the enclosure seems to be holding up very well so far. Definitely have learned a couple things doing it. Like everything else on this property, I am not a farmer by trade. This is not in my family history by any means. This is all brand new to me. I'm learning everything as I go. And so one of the things that sucks but is awesome at the same time is that doing anything on this property is a learning experience. And so even when I make a mistake, I learn next time I've got to make up some change ups for the next time I do something. But as for now, I think this enclosure absolutely is working fantastically. I do have some detailing to do to make it a little bit nicer, like cleaning up all the pots over here. And I do want to add in some plants around the perimeter to give them a bit more privacy. That's about it. Other than that, the pig's happy, the chickens are happy, the guineas are happy, and the wife's happy.
And what?
One other thing I want to talk about while we got you guys is I keep hearing around on the internet that people are struggling with eggs, that they're not really getting any. I don't want to go through that door. So let's take a look and see how we're doing. Mildred, can we show everybody if you got any eggs? I don't see any of the other nesting boxes having any, but how about under you? Well, there's your answer. So yes, we're still getting eggs. Much different winter garden tour this year than last year was, and I'm very grateful for it. I think Olivia is too. I know she enjoys the pig, especially, so do I. I mean, that pig is just so cute. Pan absolutely kills it for us. She just makes our day so much better having her as part of our family. And honestly, one of the least expected, but things that we would ever get, but probably one of our favorite things we've gotten onto this property. And it's been a blast having that enclosure for her to have some more room. All the animals are very happy, as you can tell with the fact that we're still getting eggs. I don't know why everybody else isn't, but we are. The plants are a different story. They're a bit of a struggle, but they should be bouncing back over the next couple months, and we're excited to show you guys everything that starts coming back when it does. We can't wait for the green to come back on the property, as I'm sure you guys are. Hopefully we get some actually good fruit this year. Anyways, Molnar's out.